Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Thanks for coming to the Inventors Association of Manhattan. We had a great crowd tonight, great speaker. And I am Bruce Zutler. I'm the president of the association. And for those of you that are new or haven't been here before, we are a New York State not-for-profit to help inventors, startups, entrepreneurs of all kinds get educated and empowered to help them understand how to launch their product ideas, go from concept through not just reality, but to understand monetization and to do things better for the purposes of not losing too much money and making some. We encourage networking amongst each other. We do a speaker every month, Kate, our speaker this evening, and she will be speaking for about an hour or so. And the second half of the meeting is what we call pitching panel. And is our pitcher here yet? It is an opportunity, we call it our version of Shark Tank without the money or the drama. Or the big egos. It's just really for the purposes to help a pitcher get exposure and feedback from our panel of experts, which include our professional members, some of which are here tonight. They help support the organization. And I'd like to ask a couple of them to stand up and briefly introduce themselves. Gordon?
Hi, my name is Gordon Randall Perry. I'm an industrial designer. I work with inventors, entrepreneurs, whether you have an idea in your head, whether you have a model, whatever it may be, you bring it to me, I will help you develop it, engineer it, and bring it to market. So please think of me, and I will be very happy to work with you.
We have David Ostowski.
Hi, everybody. My name is David Ostowski. I'm with the law firm of Dave Pitney. We are a general practice firm with a large intellectual property department. We're in we have 9 offices, 6 states. But what our claim to fame is, we help startups and entrepreneurs with very, very generous flat fee structures, alternative fee structures, deferred fee structures, where we can help you patent your idea or trademark it, copyright it, whatever you need. We also help folks with crowdfunding campaigns, everything from making the video to actually devising a reward and equity structure. So I'm excited to hear from the speaker. I think it was 1 year ago today, or 1 year ago, that I spoke on crowdfunding to all of you, and I'd be happy to help anyone who knows.
Thank you, David. And we have Nicole Sullivan, who is our hostess this evening from Troutman Sanders. Troutman Sanders is our host every month, and Lewis, who's usually here, is in Japan, and Nicole was kind enough to fill in for him. Nicole.
Thank you very much. My background is mostly in pharmaceuticals, but I have dabbled in all kinds of other things. I find it much more interesting to take an invention from the small. You can see somebody's idea and create something great. But a little bit of all kinds of things. So able to answer the questions.
Thank you, Nicole. And our newest professional member, Bill Samuels, in the back. Bill just came on board this month.
Hi, I'm also a lawyer. I have a small IP practice. It's sort of a startup, and we work with a lot of startups. So I would describe what we do mostly as IP problem solving. You come in, we do an audit, figure out what you've got, what's worth protecting, and come up with a plan that works.
Thank you, Bill. And so we encourage our professional members to be inventor-friendly, and that doesn't necessarily obligate them to anything other than we have in the past kicked out professional members who have kind of just irritated some of the members, and I can guarantee you a perfect experience with all of these people, but they are folks who we have good feedback with over the years. That being said, our speaker this evening is Kate Drane from Indiegogo, and I got introduced to Kate through actually a member of the IAM, Jenny Halliday. I don't know if any of you know her. And one thing leads to another, and because crowdfunding seems to be on everyone's lips, thought we would hear from one of the leaders in the field. And with that, Kate, take it away.
Hi, everybody.
Thank you so much, Bruce. Thanks for hosting me. As you heard, I'm Kate Drane, and I'm visiting here from San Francisco right now. I kind of can't believe that I'm in the Chrysler building right now. I know that seems silly, but I'm from a small town in Illinois, and I've been kind of blown away by because there is such an interesting crowdfunding where it has taken me. So now I get to add the Chrysler building to the list. So thank you. So we're going to talk today, just to let you know, we're going to talk today about making the better, smarter, faster through crowdfunding. So the agenda for this evening, I'm just going to give you a little introduction, a little overview, and then we're going to talk about crowdfunding, how it's more than just money, and why people contribute. We'll give you a case study, and then we'll talk a little bit about fulfillment, which is on everyone's mind. I'll give you some additional resources, so at the end there will be a moment where you will probably want to take a picture of the screen for resources, and then we'll open up for Q&A. Cool. So we'll start out a little bit about me. Again, my name is Kate, and how I got to stand here today, I got my MBA in Sustainable Management from Presidio Graduate School in San Francisco, and there I started a small business called the Can Van, which is a mobile beer canning service for craft breweries. So we roll around the Bay Area and we can beer for Bay Area breweries. And to get started, I'm sure that you guys can relate, it was really hard to get startup capital. Like, we only needed $200,000, which seems kind of like a lot and kind of like a little, but we were really, and so this is like, again, October 2011. We heard about this thing called crowdfunding and thinking about Indiegogo, and so we started a campaign, and we ended up raising $4,000 out of a $10,000 goal, and I learned a lot through that, like not to have a $150 t-shirt perk. Nobody wants to pay for that. We actually, one person did, and I'm still surprised by it. But what we did get out of it was, while we got $4,000, which was really helpful to us, we were featured in Fast Company 4 months before we were operational. Our largest investor found us, our largest equity investor found us, and she only invests in boozy enterprises owned by women. And how lucky were we for her to find us and want to invest in us. And it turns out that her dad is the premier can seaming expert in the world. And so she's like, all right guys, once your first can is off the line, send it to me and I'll have my dad check it out and like make sure that your canning line's legit. We're like, how did we get so lucky? So that's what I call engineered serendipity. When you put your story out to the world, wonderful things happen. So fast forward to last summer, I was looking for a job to move back to Chicago, actually, where I'm from. And I met with somebody from the Indiegogo campaign. She's like, actually, you sound perfect for a job at Indiegogo here in San Francisco. I'm like, cool, I had my one-way plane ticket booked at my moving company. But I fell in love with the mission, and I get to be here today. So that's me. So I tell you about
Where are the samples?
I know. It's so hard to get them on the plane. But canned beer, you can drink more of it if you want to. No pressure. So I don't want to condone drinking, all of that. So Indiegogo was founded by 3 amazing people, Eric, Danae, and Slava, and it came out of this shared mutual frustration about how hard it was for people to raise money for, like, that there were too many great ideas out there that didn't have access to capital. And so it was a matter of, they wanted to create a mechanism that could link people with great ideas and find that audience, and if they had that audience that cared, that wanted to actually spend money on it, to link them together and to make magic happen. So hence, in January 2008, Indiegogo was born. And we have offices here in New York, we're in Tribeca, San Francisco, and LA. And it's been really, since the beginning, we've been a global platform. We've had contributions and campaigns from 190 countries. We're an open app, so there's no application process. You can get started right away because they really believe that there shouldn't be gatekeepers in the way between a great idea and money. No gatekeepers. That's why it's so core to our ethos. And we also promote based on merit, which is called the Global Factor. So again, they had this mission to empower people to fund what matters to them, and that is why I'm here today. So we're going to take a step back. So what is crowdfunding? A lot of people have this idea that it's asking for money, that it's panhandling, and some people, by approaching it, they're like, this feels gross, this doesn't feel very good, And so what I would encourage you to look at it as is cultivating shared enthusiasm. So it's not so much to say like, hey, give me money so I can do X, but it's like, holy crap, I'm doing X, don't you want to get involved? And like, here are interesting ways that I think that, here are things that I think you'd be interested in. So then not only do you benefit, but I benefit and the world benefits because this project, idea, film, music will come to life. So then also to talk about the market size, Indiegogo, so crowdfunding in general, so this is to your point, so there are 4 different types of crowdfunding. There's equity crowdfunding, which is currently being figured out here in the United States through the Jobs Act. There's debt crowdfunding, and then there's perk and donation-based crowdfunding, is which Indiegogo is. So on Indiegogo, you can accept something in exchange for, you can accept money in exchange for a contribution, or a contribution in exchange for a perk, or 501c3s can accept contributions towards their mission and 501c3ness. So in 2011, the market was $1.5 billion. In 2012, it was $2.5 billion. And they're estimating in 2013, actually there was this article written in Forbes. This was written in December of 2012, and it's still like, I still like referring to it because it makes me feel better, but it said, it was titled Why Crowdfunding Will Explode in 2013, and it said that crowdfunding would be a $500 billion market. I was like,
What?
I know, I'm like, I love this article.
Well, is that strictly reward?
And so that was everything.
Okay.
So that was the market. Because, and that was under the assumption that the Jobs Act would pass and be up and ready and at it. But, so, scaling it back, since Jobs Act is not in action right now, that it's estimated to be $5 billion this year. So that is a very great up and to the right growth curve. So, and to put it into perspective, so again, I actually didn't mention what my title was. So I head up our design and technology categories at Indiegogo, and in the last year, again, there's been an explosion. We've experienced 1,000% growth in the amount of funding for technology projects in Indiegogo, which is something that is just continuing to build and makes me very proud. So back to this whole shared enthusiasm theme. Not necessarily panhandling. There are a lot of reasons why people crowdfund, or like there are a lot of additional benefits you get out of crowdfunding besides money. So you were able to connect with your audience and really create evangelists, because again, you're putting your story out there and they're connecting with it in a way that is not, hey, buy my product, or like, this is how I made it, this is the story behind it, this is the story behind me, these are the challenges that we faced, and like you're making it happen and you get to experience it. And then they're rooting for you. And then they are there telling other people, because like without you, this wouldn't happen. Without me, this wouldn't happen. And so there's that shared pride in it. Additionally, you get to gain visibility and expand your reach. So for example, like we'll just go back to the Kanbans example. Like how in the world would we have gotten featured in Fast Company 4 months before we were operational? And we had no connections at Fast Company. It was funny, I actually ran into the woman who wrote our article at a party recently. I'm like, you made our business, I'm like, you're the person who catapulted our business, thank you so much. But again, it was because she saw us on Indiegogo, like we didn't have a connection to her. So like, that's one way how you build visibility. And also again, since we're an international platform, and we had a campaign, the Scan and Do Scout. It had contributions from 110 countries, so really reaching out there. So you're also able to prove demand and mitigate risk. So for example, there's a I can't remember which title of the campaign is, but they were, the One Face Watch. So it was a really interesting campaign where it was a cause-related product. Again, it's called the One Face Watch, and they had a product where they wanted to see, one, they were able to demand, they put, like if you buy a pink watch, it will go towards breast cancer research. If you buy a white watch, it will go towards water. And then I think they had 5 different watches. So what they were able to do, while it was also benefiting these different causes, they were also able to see what the breakdown was in the ratios of the different colors. And so they're able to be like, so because you guys know making hardware very hard and you have to make educated guesses, and so they were able to make even more educated guesses to say, oh, we know we only sold like 20% white, we only sold, and like black was definitely our most popular color. Nobody really bought red. And so when they were making their manufacturing, they were able to determine, or they were better able to guess what their ratios would be going forward for their larger runs. And so again, improving demand and mitigating risk, and you're raising money. Who doesn't love that? So typically when you start a campaign, there are two things that are driving you. And while they typically a campaign wants both of them, there's one that's more important. One is you're looking for money, and then you're also looking for visibility and promotion and whatnot. The second, you're primarily looking for marketing and for more reach of your product. And you really want to gain visibility for your product and get users. And so it's either a PR type campaign or a money raising campaign. And again, you probably do it for both, but what's driving you? So what we've seen be successful is for a campaign that is primarily, their primary objective is to raise money, that by building a effective email campaign is the way that they're able to really get off the ground. And so why I say this, so Phone Halo, they recognized that they really wanted to raise money. And so they spent a lot of time building that email campaign. So they would go to trade shows and they would make sure that everybody that they talked to, they took down their name. They would go to different organizations and they would like meet people, and they would take great care in capturing people's email addresses, so then when they launched their campaign, they could launch with a bang. And the first campaign, I think they raised almost $200,000 because they did put so much time into building that engaged audience from the beginning. They're now on their third campaign, and they've now used this really as a way for them to develop products. Like, this is the way that they release products. It's amazing.
What kind of product was Phone Halo?
So they are really into the tracker technology. So their first campaign was for a wallet tracker, which was it's a card that you put in your wallet. So then if you lose your wallet, then it's Bluetooth enabled. Your phone can find your wallet. The second one was button tracker. So it was a button that you could put on except your phone, like you can't put it on your phone because then you're gonna lose your phone. But you can put it on things, or maybe like your dog, something like that. And then their third campaign, which just launched, is called Glasses Tracker. So it's a device that you put on your glasses in case you're always losing your glasses.
Put it on your mind, because you use your mind.
That one too. Possibilities are endless. So for Robot Dragonfly, their primary objective was they really wanted to get press. They really wanted to get coverage. So what they did was create a really interesting, they were the first people to do this. So with Indiegogo, you can track referrals through our dashboard. And also, so they took it one step farther, and they're like, we know that the people who are paying attention to this, they're early adopters. And those early adopters probably are writing for, like, if they're not writing for tech blogs, they have connection to tech blogs. And those are the people that we want covering us. And so they created this really interesting PR referral contest. And I don't even understand it completely, but what they did, because it was very intricate. I was very impressed with it. They're like, for 500 points, like if you get us a coverage in Huffington Post and you can point to it, you will get X amount of points. If you get us in Time magazine, you will get X times X amount of points. And then at the end, whoever has the most points, they will get free merchandise. And so it really drove people to work for them. And like I mean, they were covered in almost every news magazine under the sun. And I mean, Robot Dragonfly, I mean, so at the end of the day, what is Robot Dragonfly? It is a tiny spy drone that flies around. They raised, I think, almost $1.3 million. And they got covered almost everywhere. So there are interesting ways to be able to use this technology, not just as a place where you raise money, but a way that you can really engage your community and create that buzz. Yes?
Can you just repeat, what did the points get you?
So it was this whole intricate system where they would, so if you could actually prove that you were the person who got them this coverage, you would get like points, and then whoever got the most amount of points, they would get free Robot Dragonfly or free things that they could offer. Like you would get Robot Dragonflies in exchange for high points. And then I mean, and which I think is really interesting because the price point wasn't that high, but it's just people love gamifying things.
How big is that?
A robot dragonfly.
This big?
It's tiny. It's like hand size. Like it's not. It's small. So, why do people contribute to a campaign? Like the robot dragonfly, it hasn't necessarily shipped yet, and it's been a year. And so, why would people contribute to that? And you're not getting equity for it. You're not getting debt. People are straight up contributing. So, what incentivizes people if it's not getting that equity stake? So first off is people, and I'm telling you this because at the end of the day, you need to make sure that your pitch speaks to all of these three reasons because this is why people believe in you and will take a chance on you. So first is the people because they really like you, they really connect with you. Maybe they know you directly. The first 30% of a campaign's funding typically comes from your friends and family or people who are the most interested in what you're doing. We often talk about it like you are standing at the top of a mountain and you are standing behind a boulder and you're trying to move that boulder down the hill. And so you push it the first 30% of the way. And then for us, the go-go factor typically kicks in because you have proven that there's activity. And so then the go-go factor takes you about the next 30%, and then it just like catapults. And you get to go down the hill. And so you have to get that first momentum moving. So again, people fund people believe in you, people want to advance you. So you want to, yes.
What's the go-go factor?
So the go-go factor is our merit-based algorithm, which determines how campaigns get promoted through our social media, through our newsletter, on our homepage. And it's all about activity, and it's our secret sauce, but kind of like Google PageRank, that tracks the activity of a campaign from a campaigner side and a contributor side to ensure that the best rise to the top and it rewards hard, good work that people want. So again, you want to get the boulder moving and then it will take off and you will be very happy. So second, or I guess I'm just not doing this in order, I should have looked first. So passion, that they're also passionate about what you're building. So we'll just use Robot Dragonfly as an example. People are like, I want to be part of this tiny spy drone. So, because that's pretty rad and I want to see it come to life. Or the Kanban, they're like, I want to see the first mobile beer canning service exist, but I don't want to pay $150 for a t-shirt. So again, bad move. Don't do that. And then third, perks. They want what you're offering in exchange for a contribution. And so what I would encourage you to do is while product is like, typically I would assume that you guys are making cool products, and so it can be those, but it can also be experiences. It can also be those things that will cultivate that shared enthusiasm. We'll just use Canva as an example. One that we thought that would never fly was to come canning with us. We're like, yeah, come canning with us for the day for $300. Worst job in the world, but yeah, come spend money to do something that is not super fun. And 2 people contributed at that level, and they had a blast. They came and canned with us, had a blast because it's something that was a divergent, like it was something different than what they typically do. And then they got to say, hey, I just canned with the Kanban at Devil's Canyon. It was super fun. So again,
Is that fun?
I know, a little bit. So what I encourage you to do is talk to the people, again, that first 30% is going to help you get the ball rolling, and ask them what would they want to see, what would incentivize them to contribute, and then help that to shape your campaign. So what are those keys to a great campaign? So every campaign has this, it comes down, when you boil it all down, it comes down to the 3 same components: that you have a great pitch that's compelling, that again incites people to action. You want to make sure that both your video and your so with a campaign you can have both a campaign video and a campaign text. You want to have both of them go back to those 3 reasons why people contribute: the people, passion, perks. Because so for like to give you an example, with Danae, our co-founder, she only watches videos. Like she doesn't read pitch decks at all. I've maybe watched 10 campaign videos in my day. I only read. And so you want to make sure that it appeals to both of us, both of our sensibilities. Second is that it's in the right order. Okay, connect with an audience that cares. Find that audience that cares. So whether that be connecting with a blog that might be, or even if there's a blog writer who writes specifically about your area. Like if you're in wearable technology, who are those bloggers who write about wearable technology? Who are the user groups? Are there meetup groups that you can go talk to? Are there meetup groups that you can go present to? Finding that audience that cares. And then 3, proactive communication. So we found that campaigns that update every 1 to 5 days a week, that they raise 187% more money than a campaign that doesn't. And that's because you are, again, people contribute for those 1 of 3 reasons. They want to see that there's momentum. They want to be part of that momentum. So for example, for us, the campaign, what we did, we got featured in Fast Company. We were like, hey everybody, we got featured in Fast Company. And so then at the beginning, the people who at the beginning might have just contributed something small, because they're like, oh, so we'll just use me as an example. So my sister at the beginning, she's like, oh neat, what is my sister doing out in California? Neat, I have to contribute to this because she's my sister. Here, I'll give $25. And then like the updates start coming, it starts validating more of what you're doing. And so you're like, hey everybody, we just got featured in TechCrunch, or like we just got featured in Wired. Put X here, your accomplishment there, and then that goes out to the people who have subscribed, to the people who have contributed, and they're like, oh wait, this might be more legit than I gave credit for. And then you start watching the green bar move, which is that bar that's underneath your the amount of money you raise, about what percent you are to your total or to your goal, and people start seeing that momentum, and then they get excited with you. They're like, oh my gosh, they're like 30%, they're like almost there. I want to help them get over that last hump, and so those updates help to keep them engaged, and so use them, and I mean not in a spammy way. Nobody wants to be spammy. So we'll use a case study, Misfit Shine, an amazing all-metal activity tracker created by Sunny Vu and his team. So this was an incredible campaign that they ran. So it was a 60-day campaign. They started right before Thanksgiving. They ended right after CES. Their international reach was incredible. The coverage they got, unbelievable. And what I loved about it was that they had one of the best quotes that I've ever seen, which I feel really accurately sums up why people crowdfund. Like when I said reasons why people crowdfund, I feel like they summed it up really well. And at the core of it, they got smarter faster. And I think that that's something that we can all appreciate. So through their campaign, they were able to not only like raise a lot of money and move a lot and validate that people wanted an all metal activity tracker, but so they were able to test their pricing. So what a lot of campaigns do is they'll have this early adopter, so they'll be like early bird special for, again, that first 30%. Like, to reward you for being our first funders, we're gonna have this offered at a discounted rate. And so they had this discounted rate, and it was at a lower price, and they sold out really quickly. And then they had the regular priced Shine. And then they were starting to get the feedback that people wanted it in a different color. They're like, really? It's beautiful. It's also really another color. And so they offered it in black. But they're like, it's going to be really stinking expensive to make this in black because it's so beautiful and shiny. So we're going to charge the contributors for it. And so it was at $79. They added $50 to it. They had 200 of them at that price. They sold out within a day. And they're like, did we price this right? Because, I mean, that's really fast for moving that. So they were able to test their pricing. In addition, they thought that everyone was just going to want the Shine, but they were getting feedback that people wanted accessories, so they offered a leather wristband and they offered a necklace. And those accessories sold out also very quickly. And so they're like, we have a whole additional revenue stream. This is incredible. And they were able to see where their other markets were, so then they could market there appropriately and accordingly. So as I'm starting to wrap up, so my role at Indiegogo again is to head up the design and technology category. So I work with a lot of people making products, and I feel that I have an amazing opportunity to educate and empower people to fulfill on time. Because that to me is the core of what I get to do. Because as an industry leader in this, I know that we have a responsibility to ensure that there's consumer confidence in crowdfunding going forward. So I'll give you a story of why this will relate to you. So again, going back to the Kanban, your first 30% typically comes from your friends and family. Let's face it, it's probably your mom or dad. And so my mom was our first contributor, and she contributed to get her name on the back of our trailer, painting on the back of our trailer. So she writes like 6 months later, she's like, "Hey Katie Poo, just wondering where's my name on the back of the trailer?" And I was like, okay, so I like forwarded on to my co-founders, and I was like, "Hey guys, where's my mom's name on the back of the trailer?" And like they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, we'll get to it, we'll get to it." And like any busy startup, no one got to it. So then a month later, I get another email from my mom. She's like, "Hey Katie Poo, still haven't gotten that picture of my name on the back of the trailer." So I was like, frick. I was like, "Hey guys, really, I'm gonna start sending you this, I'm gonna forward this email to your guys' moms, where it's like, where's my mom's name?" And so now, I should put a picture up here of my mom's name on the back of the trailer, but it's really like that, at the end of the day, it's your social capital, and it's you wanting to do well by your friends and family, so ensure that anything that you say that you're going to do, that you can do it. Because your mom, you don't want to get emails from your mom disappointing her. So as I said, at Indiegogo, we are committed to hardware. This was something that happened on Friday. We just launched our hardware handbook. It's our first version, we're iterating it. But this is just, and I'm sure you guys could teach me a lot, because this was written by our hardware mentor in residence, who knows this stuff inside and out. But always open to feedback. If you have any ideas on how we can improve it, please let me know. And also, and again, this will be on the next slide. So if you're like, "I want nitty-gritty," like these are great overviews, Kate, thanks so much, but I want like nitty-gritty, how do I get this done? That here is a workbook that can actually walk you through the steps and be like, "Okay, check, got my first 30%, check this, I have like linked to," it will like walk you through what you should be doing. I was like, I'm just gonna start ripping on things, no one's gonna be happy, because it will not be good. So, a lot of people have found great success, and I'm here to help you, so I hope that you are our next success story. And our team is here for you. So this is my email, kated@Indiegogo, and then here is a link to our hardware handbook, to our field guide, to our support at Indiegogo. If you write support@indiegogo.com, you'll get a response from a real human being, our customer happiness agents, within 24 hours, and they're lovely people. Tell them I said hi. But yes, taking pictures if you want. These are all wonderful resources that I highly recommend. Cool. So thank you so much. Now I would love to help with any questions that you have. And again, my email, kated@Indiegogo, I'm available anytime, so please write me. Yay.
I'm sure this is going to be the question you always get.
Yeah.
Kickstarter, Indiegogo.
So Indiegogo is an open platform, so there's no application process.
There's an application process at Kickstarter.
So it's something that's unique to us, or it's not unique. It's something that sets us apart from our competition, that we have no application process. Nobody says yes or no. Nobody approves your campaign. Anything that you want, like if you want to post it, then you can get started right away. So that's one large differentiator. We're also global because we accept PayPal payments and credit cards. So that's why we're able to have the reach that we do, where we can have countries, 190 countries start or contribute to a campaign. The way that our promotion works, again, is based on merit. It's based on the go-go factor. So you know that if you create a really great campaign and people respond to it, that's what gets you promoted. Our customer happiness, that we have a very robust team of people who really want to help you. And then me, that I'm here.
Well, that's true. But, I mean, have there been campaigns that were on Kickstarter that have gone to Indiegogo?
Oh yeah, we have one right now. It's called Charge Key.
Okay.
So
the same campaign or different, like a little upgraded product? Or?
That one. So So the campaign that's on Indiegogo right now is called Charge Key, and it's their second version of their product.
Okay.
And
So they decided to make the second
product on
campaign with you
Indiegogo.
guys,
Mhm.
and not with Kickstarter.
So they came to Indiegogo
Yeah.
Kate,
Any reason why they did that?
because we're awesome. Because we have really important differentiators. Also, this might be important for you, is that we offer the ability to offer multiple units of your product in your perks, so that will help you raise more money. Yeah,
Actually, if I could add it, we did a Kickstarter,
yeah.
but we got rejected because it was health-related product.
We can't hear the questions back
He
here.
was saying that they were rejected because they're health-related at Kickstarter.
Yeah, like a fitness-related product is a, Kickstarter become very restricted in terms of like rewards and what kind of.
So what happens is, do you launch and then after like a day or two,
No,
they
the
review it?
Kickstarter, there's an application process.
really
They will
just
tell you whether it's good
before
or not.
it even-
So we went to Indiegogo, and I have to say the customer happiness people.
There's
they're
one.
nice. Okay, there's one. They're definitely much nice.
Good. Good. I'm glad you had a good experience.
But I have a question about the biggest problem I think a lot of people have with
Yeah.
crowdfunding is the shipping, ultimately, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is something like, I mean, Googling, researching what other people do. Shipping within the United States is fairly straightforward because we have the UPS, the flat shipping rate. But then it's a problem with those international, because Indiegogo is so international, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that was like one of the things that we really wanted to like think about. So if you have any like tips or suggestions for international shipping?
Yeah, so something that we put into the hardware handbook, because especially for products, that this is something that comes up a lot. So it's to keep in mind that taxes are different in different countries. So know that, again, Indiegogo is an international platform. If you want to restrict it, be sure to put in your perks to be like US and Canada only, or to include in there a description to be like, add international shipping, $15 or something along those lines. We've just upgraded our back end, and so for the fulfillment section, it is easier from a fulfillment section to be able to identify which countries they're from, and to be able to because being able to have them, where they're interacting with the fulfillment house, you just want to be able to send them something seamlessly, that we've created a more streamlined process for that.
So like if you're in this country or your shipping would be this much, but if you're in another country, it would be different. Is that what you mean?
So what I mean is that, what I've heard, this is anecdotal from people that I've worked with, that they're like, okay, this is great, but the CSV file that we get from you doesn't line up with what I can do. It requires work to be able to send it to the fulfillment house, who is going to ultimately fulfill it. And so we tried to make it as seamless and streamlined to be able to pass it along as possible.
So, I think videos are very important.
Totally.
To really judge it based on the video.
You raise 113% more money if you have a video.
Okay, so that was the question. Have you analyzed the video based on what is in the video? Like what kind of, is the person selling it? Is it, what are the best things to have in a video that successful campaigns have?
Totally. So it's 3 minutes or less.
Okay.
And you want to have something that that catches their attention at the beginning. And again, you want to, because there are the Danaes of the world and there are the Kates of the world,
Yeah.
like the people who only watch the video. And so there are those 3 reasons why people contribute. So I would imagine, how many people here are making something? Oh, okay, cool. Then this will be appropriate for you. So what I've heard a really good best practice is to be like, hello, I am, what's your name?
Jason.
Hi, I'm Jason, and put some of yourself into it, and then to have those 3, focus on 3 features, or I always get confused between features and benefits. Like the 3 things that the consumer wants, where you're like, it is waterproof, you'll be able to do this and this with it. Is it what?
Benefits.
Benefits.
The feature is it's waterproof, the benefit is it won't break.
Right. So focus on those benefits, and then line it up between the video and the pitch text. And so again, people can easily, if they only watch the video, they will be fine. And if they only read the pitch text, they would be fine. And so you're like, this is the benefit, and explain it. Even maybe use the images that were in the video to illustrate the pitch text.
What about music?
So music, one, be sure that you don't use copyrighted material, or if you do, to give it credit and make sure that it's okay. Yeah, have music. And there's like, it's kind of funny because I haven't watched that many crowdfunding videos, but I've also seen parody videos of crowdfunding videos, and that there's like the same type of like crowdfunding video music out there. It's like, it's got the swell to it. It's got the like, so yeah, use that music. Yeah.
Yeah, is it possible or even desirable from a marketing standpoint to have your project on Indiegogo and somewhere else at the same time?
So so for us, we don't have any restrictions against that. You can totally do that. But from a best practices and your sanity standpoint, I would recommend to pick one platform and go with it, because you run a campaign, like it's gonna like run your life for the life of the campaign. And so you want to, one, direct eyeballs to one place, and you want to be able to direct traffic to one place. You want to direct your energy to one place, because you like using the whole like GIS, like keep it simple. You want to make it as simple as possible. So people, like when you do your outreach to your friends, that they know, like, should we go here? I'm just not going to do any of it because it's just too hard. I'm too confused.
In terms of when you might begin the whole process,
Right.
in terms of patent protection, can you make a recommendation that you have at least a provisional patent filed, or should you wait until you have a patent issued before you proceed with this? And can you get anywhere if you don't have a full function prototype, for example, which is where I am?
So I will leave your first question to the many lawyers who I've heard are in the room. But I'll take the second question. As on Indiegogo, you can start raising money at any point in your process. We had a campaign recently called Encase, and so they raised money first in January for their prototype, and they were very be transparent and honest about where you are. So they're very transparent. They're like, you're raising money for a prototype. This is not functioning. This is right, for them to make their prototype. And then their second one, so then they just hosted their second campaign in July to actually raise money for the production of the product. And they were successful, they were wildly successful both times. So does a lawyer want to take this patent question?
Dave, you want to talk about
You're
that?
smiling back there.
I can take it. Well, just first and foremost, this is because of statutory rules and public disclosure rules. You do not want to publicly disclose your invention if you do not have at least a provisional on file. Because once you publicly disclose it, you have 1 year then to file patent protection on it. If you do not file that patent within 1 year, you lose all rights to the patent. And that might be okay for you, but if you want patent protection, make sure you at least have it on file first, or follow up within that year. Okay, that's first and foremost. But on a related question, so I know that Kickstarter has very specific rules about patents, trademarks, and copyrights in their terms of use, because they've been sued and stuff like that. So Indiegogo doesn't ask anybody anything about any intellectual property?
So we don't ask about intellectual property. Because again, we believe that that it's not our it is not our role to be like, yes, you can, we deem you okay, we do not deem you okay. That if you are, it is their responsibility, which is why again, to go back to best practices, the campaigns that really demonstrate honestly and transparently where they are in the process and are able, so if you have 4 or more different websites listed, so if you're you can find me on LinkedIn here, website here, Twitter here, Facebook here, if you have those, you raise 287% more money, so you want to list those, because it is that type of due diligence that people are doing. And so it is the more media that's why you see the campaigns that have the most media on it. That's why you also see that prototype campaigns, they don't raise as much money as one that has a working product, because you're I don't know if this is actually, I don't have that much consumer confidence in this necessarily. And also because press haven't been able to play with them, so it's probably that they're not going to cover them. But at the end of the day, we believe that it is not our role to say yes or no. Our role is to enable and empower people to raise money and be transparent and be honest about it. Again, you don't want to do anything bad by your mom, who's going to contribute. So like it's a fantastic rule of thumb when you're creating anything to be like, what would my mom think of this? I should also make this accessible to my mom because it's the masses. So,
Kate, I have a question.
is it about anybody's mom?
No, it's not about their mom.
Okay.
It has to do with the word crowd.
Okay.
So how have you found, like, what size crowd is essential to kind of assure you have this tailwind of enthusiasm that could actually get you a half a chance of getting to your goal? Have you seen any ratios? Is it 1,000 people beforehand? Is it 10,000? Does it not matter?
So it matters, so there's a few ways to take that question. It depends on what you're doing and depends on what your goal is. Like there are all those variables in there. I went to a talk, and I'm going to repeat this even though I hated the statistic when I heard it because I don't agree with it. But they were it was an analytics organization that really analyzes data, and they're like, if you have 1,000 or more Facebook friends, you are 90% likely to be able to reach your goal. And so, I feel like I don't like that because it's not an empowering statistic, and I think that there are so many other things. But what I would tell you, what I take from that, is that you want to have a certain amount of people who want to support you and want you to do well. So from that, I'm just going to give you a best practice. We've seen that people, they create host committees. So say you're okay, I'm going to get ready to launch my crowdfunding campaign. I will reach out directly to between 20 and 50 people and ask them to contribute on the first day, make the plea to say, hey, the crowdfunding campaigns that have raised at least 30% within the first couple of days, though to find the greatest likelihood for success, I would love for you to go on this journey with me, and I'm excited to have you as my supporter. Would you promise to, or will you contribute on day one and then tell at least 10 friends about it, and then help you to build that groundswell? And so again, because it's about cultivating the shared enthusiasm around it, that you get them involved early, you get them to be your biggest evangelist, and then also finding who those influencers are, and then seeing if they would help you to spread the message. So it's while it's about you, it's also about finding that audience that cares. Janae always uses, so there's this example, actually, so there is a cat cafe in London that raised money on Indiegogo, and it's one of our favorite campaigns because it really shows, a cat cafe is amazing. It's an amazing idea. Everybody wants a cat cafe, but you just didn't know that you wanted a cat cafe. And so they were I know that our community wants it. And they went far above and beyond their goal because they found that they tapped into that audience that cares. So if you have an idea that really people respond to, if you want to put a red banana tree outside and people are what, a red banana tree? You're maybe this isn't for you. If you think that's crazy.
Related to that about how large a crowd,
Right.
how far in advance do you have a sense, a best practice that you should be doing the pre-work before you actually go for your 60-day live?
Right. And so you want to stay you want to stay between 30 and 45 days, because again, this is your life for a really long time. For the life of that campaign, and you want to stay sane a little bit. What I would say is that it depends on your campaign. It depends on how much pre-work you would need to put into it. So you want to be able to create that pitch, which means you want to put together your video. You want to make sure that your marketing assets are all, because at the end of the day, this is now a piece of marketing collateral for you and your business. So you want to feel really proud about it. You want to feel happy about it. You want to have identified the press who you are most interested in reaching out to and having them get involved. You want to create that host committee of people who are going to help put that wind in your sails. So it depends on the amount of time. Everybody's different. Maybe somebody's oh, I can do that in a weekend, I'm an overachiever. And somebody else is it took us a year to prepare for this. So it all depends on you and your company and your objectives.
I have a question. So about the Jobs Act, what is that exactly? And how is it going to affect crowdfunding? I'm just kind of curious.
So the Jobs Act it was actually passed by Congress last year, and it allows for crowdfunding for equity, as opposed to, again, you have no equity in an Indiegogo campaign, and so people are able to, right,
We're online.
right. And I feel like, do you know more about?
So there's another platform, Jobs to the Equity.
And so right now, it's not like the Jobs Act isn't, and it hasn't been brought into the market. The SEC is still sorting all of that out.
They just proposed rules in the last week and a half, yes.
Right.
And they're out for comment.
There are a
Oh, right,
couple
they're
of
out
issues
for
with-
comment. I encourage you to like, if you are interested in this, check it out. I heard recently that there was a bill that received 300 comments, and that was like the second highest commented bill of all time. So like, Jobs Act, let's beat the record. That's what I'd say.
There are two parts of the Jobs Act that are happening in terms of the equity. One is general solicitation, which means that you could actually stand up in a room like this and tell people, please come to my campaign and invest in my business.
Before you couldn't do that.
You couldn't do that. You had to do it through registered or filtered gatekeepers, to use
Yeah.
the word. So that's one part of the Jobs Act. There are like 7 titles, which they call it within the Jobs Act. So general solicitation is one.
That was Title II.
Title II, thank you. Dave, you want to chime in also?
No, you keep going.
Okay, and then the other part of it is then the actual raising of the money. So there used to be what's called, or there still is, accredited investors, people who have a certain annual income and a certain net worth. Crowdfunding for equity will enable some of those thresholds to be lowered with limitations. So they're just trying to work through some of that stuff. And actually, I give Phil a lot of credit for having an open view to some of the objections people have had to crowdfunding, realizing that it's going to open up some great opportunities. I call it the democratization of capital allocation. But that could be a whole nother topic for us.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Katie.
No, I'm really happy you're here. Okay, you haven't had a question yet. Oh, behind
Yeah.
you, sorry.
So what I get the point that Indiegogo doesn't have this concept of all or nothing, right? That's a big difference between the Kickstarter and you guys.
So Indiegogo has 2 funding models.
Okay.
One model is fixed, which is the all or nothing.
Okay.
Only if you meet or exceed your goal can you take it home. And the second is flexible funding. So any money you raise, you take home minus the Indiegogo fee. And so for both of them, if you meet or exceed your goal, the fee is 4%. And on flexible, it's 9% if you don't. And that's to encourage people to set reasonable goals.
So why did you allow such kind of option? What was your rationale behind that?
Flexibility, man, like making it like for yeah, like give people the option for
The money.
Let's say you
Yeah.
have a goal of $10,000 and you get to $9,950.
and then you're like, or you're like, I'm a small business, I raised $4,000 out of a $10,000 goal, I had no idea how much we could raise, and we had crappy perks, so then I had to lose that $4,000 that was then able to be the thing that let us insure our truck. So it's all about what are your objectives. Again, you look at what your objectives are, and you make that decision, because you're like, okay, only if we meet or exceed your goal. So this is why people typically decide which type of funding model to go. They're like, only if we meet or exceed our goal can we go on. So only, like, if we don't raise $10,000, then we can't buy this part, so then we can't make this. So, man, I'm so glad that we didn't have to make that, because we didn't. Okay, actually, this is a really great example. So there was this campaign called the Ubuntu Edge campaign by Canonical. It was like, so Canonical is a multinational, multi-million-dollar company. And they're like, let's do crowdfunding. We are an open source software company. We want to make our first piece of hardware. We want to make the baddest phone of all time. And they set a goal for $32 million. $32 million. And to their credit, they raised $13 million out of that $32 million goal. They were the fastest to 5 million, like they were fastest to $1 million ever, fastest to 5 million ever, and the most money raised in a 30-day period. But at the end of the day, they're like, this was successful because we didn't have to make that phone, because we saw that the market was not ready for it. They did not want it. We're cool because we didn't have to make that. But what they did get out of that, like I was talking with their community manager yesterday, and he's like, we got at least $13 million of marketing out of it and press coverage out of it. And so he's like, it was a grand success because one, we didn't have to make that phone that people voted with their dollars and said they didn't want, and then two, we were able to be a major player, and we got approached by OEMs, and we got approached by potential partners who all wanted to work with us because we made such a huge splash, and we did it in this innovative new way.
Was that all or nothing?
All or nothing.
And they had to reject $13 million.
$13 million. They're like, peace out, $13 million. That is hard to do. But yeah, and so then all of our money I got to be the first contributor, and it's a point of pride. Like, I was talking with John, their community manager, who was number 2. He's like, oh, PayPal. Yeah, you had a question.
Have you gotten any feedback or have any data on how contributions change or don't change based on which model you use? In other words, do contributors look at the concept of, well, they'll take whatever they can get versus they're determined to get this amount or they're not going to do it?
That's interesting. I don't think we have data on that necessarily. What I would say, I shouldn't say, I'm on camera and I shouldn't say this. But what I would say is that people don't necessarily pay attention to so if you look at, it's like, they look the same from a card perspective. So you're like $10,000, the green bar is under there, and the goal is $20,000, and it's like, this is a fixed funding campaign. Unless this campaign raises all the money by 11, 22, blah, 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 then it won't take it home. But people really pay attention to the first part, and so and again, they see like the clock ticking down. They're like 14 days left, 14 hours left, and then that's what incites people to action. Not necessarily to say like, oh, cool, they're gonna take whatever they can get. So I don't really feel urged. Like it's like the green bar and the time. It's like a perfect storm of urgency. But just so like best practice wise, I'll just take it one step to a question that you didn't ask. So the average contribution on Indiegogo is $78. The most popular perk is the $25 perk, and the second most popular is a $100 perk. So a little best practice in there.
Could you repeat that one more time?
Average contribution $78 on Indiegogo. The most popular perk is $25. The second most popular is $100.
Yeah, my idea is for a greatly improved football helmet that will prevent concussions and spinal cord injuries and things like that.
Amazing.
Now, if I posted that on your site,
right,
without doing a campaign, do I have a chance in hell that people are going to find this just by searching or browsing or anything? I mean, is that ever successful or?
So, well, I'll go back to this whole pushing the boulder.
Yeah.
So you want to get that first traction, because that first traction will, like, those people will start talking about it, like the go-go factor will kick in, and then the additional activity will start taking it down the hill. And so if you just put it up and you don't put anything into it, Indiegogo, like at any given time there are 7,000 campaigns live on Indiegogo. And so you want, and so what gets you to like show up in higher in all of our algorithms is to be like, hey man, I'm active and people want this. And so then that is how the convergence of attention comes.
And how long does a campaign stay on Indiegogo?
You get to choose.
Yeah, it's like stay live, and so it lives on there basically forever unless you hide it. It will live in perpetuity. Like you can still find the Canvans campaign 2.5 years later.
Okay, great.
And so again, you want to design it to be a piece of marketing collateral because it will. Like we still, actually, I'll tell a story. So last summer, I noticed that we were featured in the Huffington Post. And I was like, oh, this is so amazing, we're featured in the Huffington Post, we never even got contact. Why are they quoting our Indiegogo campaign 10 months later? A lot has happened this time, and so it was a good, actually we still haven't done this, but it was a good reminder to me to, as our campaign ends, update it, because it is a lasting piece of marketing collateral. You don't want the Huffington Post quoting something that is 10 months out of date.
Last question. Could you share a little bit of that GoGo segment? How to get on the homepage?
So again, I can only tell you that, so it's our secret sauce, and it's like Google PageRank.
And you're on camera.
And I'm on camera. Slava, please.
So you said the activity that we have to show, that we're trying.
Right, so that you are active, you are engaged, you are running, like, so I've given you best practices, that you are doing best practices, and that there's activity by your contributors. Again, it needs to be on the platform, so then the GoGo factor can, like, so then it factors in. So then it factors into that, but I would keep in mind to be like, okay, how am I going to show that I'm active, and how are my contributors going to demonstrate?
Because a lot of times, like, we're active on Facebook, Twitter.
And that's not, I wouldn't say nothing, but I've seen that small campaigns are on your front page, as well as humongous campaigns. So it's not about making you guys money, it's about campaigns that are showing success or vitality.
Exactly. And like that, people are voting with their eyeballs and with their dollars if they want to see more of it.
Bill?
You talked about you have to ensure fulfillment. Do you have a sense of where successful campaigners, what resources they're turning to enable fulfillment?
So we have a blog post on Indiegogo's blog that's all about fulfillment. And so we have a number of, so while we don't necessarily, Indiegogo, again, we're an open platform, so we don't recommend to be like, this vendor, top grade, like definitely go to them. But we have a number of resources that are listed on our Indiegogo blog. So if you look under Indiegogo fulfillment, a number will come up. A number of resources will come up, not a number.
There are a lot of third parties that help people put campaigns together, so do the video, do the marketing, all of that. Any recommendations if it?
So again, it depends on what you have as like, what your team is capable of, and like what skills your team is capable of. Like if you were an all engineer team, you may be like, oh, maybe I should try to find some additional marketing help for this. We've seen a number of campaigners use a third-party service, a number not, and it really depends on, like, if you identify that as a gap, then it may be a good idea to research. I know that I can send you to resources in San Francisco, but I don't know about, I'm sure that there's lovely resources. We're in an amazing city right now. I was going to say like best city in the world, but I think that Chicago, I would have to say Chicago, sorry. No offense, it's my favorite.
But you don't have a Chrysler building.
But we don't have a Chrysler building, and I'm not standing in it right now. So, you're right.
Rick, you have a question?
Yeah, what are the total costs, including credit card processing, and for international campaigns, do you use any languages other than English?
Yes, so Indiegogo, so we'll answer the first question. So Indiegogo's fee, again, if you meet or exceed your goal, it's 4%. So that's the platform fee, and our credit card / PayPal fees are 2.9%. So in all, it's 6.9%. And then for international, we accept and distribute contributions in Canadian dollars, euros, pounds, and Australian dollars. And then we're localized in German and French right now, as well as English. I was like, is there any more? Okay, I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
But what we've seen, so if you're like, oh man, I know we're gonna have a huge Spanish market for our campaign, and so what we've seen people do, there's a number of things that people have, and people are so inventive and amazing, but to create, either to have it all at the beginning, all in English, and then the next in Spanish, maybe like the next in Portuguese, or at the top they'll create like a hyperlink to say English version, Spanish version, And so then they make it accessible in other languages as well.
Kate, when you were first booting up your campaign, I think I saw something there about the 10 myths of crowdfunding.
Right.
Could you speak to some of that? Because I think there might be, just as like this issue about the Jobs Act is confusing people. What myths do you typically encounter?
So some myths of crowdfunding. One is that like it's only about money. So we've talked a little bit about that. It's not just about money. Another myth, I was like, that's actually Slava's presentation. But I can Slava our CEO, but I can speak to it probably, he's really good at it. And he's like, I'm okay. I hope you'll be okay with it.
We wouldn't know if you didn't tell me.
Damn it. The second, because I'm going to struggle up here and you're going to be like, you were really nice up until this point.
My bad. We'll cut the video at this point.
Like I was really smart the whole time. So one, that it's only about money. Two is that it's not, it is hard work. Like people think, and to your question, that you can just put it up and then it will be like, oh, I will go to bed and then I will wake up and Magic Elves will have put money in the campaign, and it's a lot of work. You have to, how many people here have run a campaign? Oh, I should ask at the beginning. Good job. Nice way to be fearless. How'd it go?
Terrible.
Bad, terrible. Okay. I hope did you learn anything today? What would you say you would have done differently?
I don't know, we did it on Indiegogo.
Okay.
We hired social media people and people to do the video for us and stuff, and we thought we had it all. Some of them had failed miserably. Miserable.
What did you learn?
I don't know. We're still in a learning process right now.
Okay.
Hired the wrong media people.
Yeah, well.
You weren't really hearing us.
Really?
Yeah. We had a number of meetings about it. And so, okay, we see what we want you to do. We never really did it.
Yeah, never really got it. The only people that really funded it was really friends and family. It came down to it.
Do you have any tips for the crowd? Tips for your fellow inventors?
Well, we don't know if Indiegogo is really the right platform to put what we had on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it?
What was the product?
So it's a portable seatbelt for tour buses, for coach buses. Because they're not required to have them. So it's something you could take along as part of your gear, your luggage, and provide yourself with some safety.
So you would it's a consumer good. Okay. So.
It wasn't Indiegogo's fault.
No, and I was trying to what would I distill out of that? I would probably ask
Nobody wants it.
I think that she covered it briefly at the beginning, that you have to find the right crowd. Right. That is the top line. Right. It doesn't matter if it's social media and a great product, but how do you get those people to find you on Indiegogo?
Well, we reached out to them.
Yeah.
And we felt it was
tough.
And I would also say, as you guys are developing products, that recognizing that not every, and this is unrelated but related, to recognize to be is this a broad product that everybody will want, and that this is a message that everybody that will bring everybody in, or is this a niche product, or is this a cat cafe in London? Then I say that with utmost respect. Of is this something that a smaller group of people,
London or cat cafes?
Yeah, or all of it, the whole thing. But so I'll give an example, and this is probably it's a scandalous example, but there was this campaign that was on Indiegogo that was a vaporizer. There was a vaporizer, it was on Indiegogo, and so that's a niche market. And they understood that was a niche market, and so they had tactics that specifically spoke to that niche market. Because they're okay, this isn't for me. I'm not going to be the person to contribute to that campaign. It's not going to be my mom. It's probably not going to be their mom. So, how are they? So what they came up with were, and this is unique to them. And they did it. If you ever have a chance to look at it, they did a wonderful job with their campaign. It was called Vape Exhale. And what he did was do a great job with community engagement. So every comment that was written, he wrote back to it. And then and if there was a comment that he felt like, he would write an update speaking to it. So then people he's like, if anybody has a question about this, actually we got this great comment. And so there was this feeling that he was actually listening and he was reacting to it. And then it made his product better because he was able to take that feedback that he really paid attention to, and he demonstrated that he was paying attention to it. So then people wanted to give him more feedback, and people wanted to get more invested. And then they wanted to tell their friends about it and be like, oh man, this guy, you want to support this guy because he is amazing. So recognizing who is your audience, how do you get to them, and then how can you demonstrate that you want them to get a part of this and share in that enthusiasm as opposed to be like, buy my product. Because again, this is not like the word pre-tail has been thrown around. It's not as much pre-tail as it is, again, cultivating that shared enthusiasm about what you're building and getting people to believe in you and help you drive that train. So treat it not as this is a sales channel, because it partially is, but it's also how are you going to create those evangelists? How are you going to tap into the people who care and then help them see that this is going to make a bigger impact? Love it. Two questions.
What was the name of the vaporizer?
Vape and scale.
And you also mentioned N-Case as a company.
So N is in Nancy, Case.
What is their product?
So it was I know what their picture looks like. It's
Just a
you
general.
should look at it. You should look at it. Check it out.
I encourage you to look it up. Thank you.
Yes.
Do you focus only on material products or also, for example, ideas or other products? Only on material products or everything?
So I personally,
your firm.
so Indiegogo, you can raise money for anything on Indiegogo. It's cause. So you can have a nonprofit or a woman. It's this is an interesting campaign that I recently contributed to, which was called Samantha's Vagina, about a woman who was undergoing a sex change operation. That was I think it's one of the best campaigns of the year. Too creative. So things that are music, film, there was a film back there, or anything that is entrepreneurial, so small business, technology, fashion. And I think those are the entrepreneurial categories. Personally, yeah. Personally, canning. Yeah.
So you're basically just providing a platform for you to promote your product. You're not actually doing anything to promote. Let's say my product has the 30%, it has traction, it's moving, people are coming to the site and contributing, but is there anything that Indiegogo is doing to further promote it?
Totally, and so that goes to the whole go-go factor. So that's how you get on our homepage, in our newsletter, on our social media feed. So we actually, and the newsletter goes out, it has a readership of millions. So we actually had and I use this example because I think it's product campaigns you can understand when you send it to millions of people. They're like, holy crap, I really want, again, the vaporizer is not a good example, but I really want that watch, or I really want that phone. And they have this cause campaign called Black Bone Disease to help fund research for this really weird, rare disease. And they raised half of their money through the newsletter, which I think was incredible. So half of it came from one day in the newsletter.
Makes sense.
Great presentation, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I actually supported their project.
Nice.
They had a great video.
Nice.
But one thing I do with a lot of projects that I back up on Indiegogo and on Kickstarter is, after the project is done, if someone hit their goal or they didn't hit their goal, I'll send them an email and ask them if they can make a recommendation. And I usually get a response back, which is pretty cool. And I see a similarity. Sorry?
Recommendation for what part?
If I launched a video.
Oh.
And one similarity I've gotten from a lot of people who failed, who made it, was that they put together a committee of people, and maybe one or two of the people on that committee had huge followings.
Yeah, the host
So,
committee.
Yeah.
Nice. Anything else you learned?
No, that's the only.
I think there were a couple more questions in the back, and maybe we'll take the break.
Yes.
In addition to capital contributions, in what way can Indigo or can it be used to recruit or solicit expertise?
So that's something that's interesting is that, again, you put your story out to the world, and again, you have this global audience that that accesses it, and so it's that engineered serendipity that happens. So again, you're putting it. So this is a piece of marketing. At the end of the day, it's a piece of marketing collateral. So you put it in places like say, what's a project that you're working on?
I can't say yet.
Okay, so you're putting it on like supersecretblog.com,
Right.
and you're like, hey, supersecretblog.com, I just released this Indiegogo campaign. I'm also hiring, so like, hit me up if you want to work at super secret amazingness. And they're like, oh my gosh, I've always wanted to work there. I'm so excited there's an opening. Or you can put it in your updates, because again, those are the people who are the most enthusiastic about what you're creating because they've contributed to it. And so you're like, hey everybody, hey Super Secret Awesomeness fans, love you guys, thanks so much for your support. Actually, we're looking for expertise because we don't know how to make, I want to like really make up something that what you're working on because we're making trash can cover, and that's a bad one. That's just right there.
Coding or something like that.
Okay, so we're looking for coders for Super Secret Awesomeness. Do you know anybody who's available? Hit me up.
But it's not something that you would typically include in your video presentation or anything.
Not your video, like you might do an update video with it and then add some personality to it. Yeah, so then people will share it and they'll be like, oh, I love her, she's amazing, you should work for her. That kind of stuff.
Another question I have, if I may, is can you present multiple products within a given campaign, or can you create more than one campaign at a given time?
So you totally can. It did, like, I'll go back to this KIS
If
example.
I may, the question was, can you do multiple products within a campaign or have multiple campaigns at one time?
Yes. So,
great job. Great.
So what I would recommend is,
That was a war question.
what I recommend,
Well, or, either or and/or.
and/or, let's do
But yeah, I
and/or.
guess it's about focus, right? If
It
you
is.
had two products up, what are you trying, is it the total amount of money? Or if you have two side by side, is it perhaps market research? If you kind of make it blind enough, you can compare which would get more response, and maybe that's your go-to-market strategy. So, you call it pre-tail, it's a bit of like retail and marketing research.
First you should be saying that. You're glad you
So, but no, I think it's a matter of focus, what you would want to not distract from when you have it up. Patrick, I'd be disappointed if you didn't have a
Oh,
question.
yeah, I just have a question. Would the economics make sense, I guess, to run a pay-per-click campaign on the side?
I don't even know what that is.
A Google pay-per-click campaign?
Is that like Google Analytics? Oh yeah, and we track Google, you have a Google Analytics code through Indiegogo. I don't know if that, I don't know.
So
what
Patrick, was your
no,
question
what I'm
that you
saying
was
is-
like, if you're doing a bath accessory of some kind and you bought bath accessories as a,
The
Oh.
product that I have has a main competitor.
Yeah.
Okay, mine's better, cheaper, awesomer.
Amazing.
But the name of that product is a generic name. If I run a pay-per-click campaign with the name of that product, when people are searching for that product, they'll see this pop up. So
Yeah.
the idea is that allowed? If it costs me $1 per click, but someone gives me $30, I'm taking it.
Totally.
Okay.
So, and we have seen people, so just in terms of how our analytics work,
Yes.
is that you're able to see the conversion rate for that. So you're like, to be like, oh man, that was a waste of money.
Waste of money.
Or to be like, holy crap, I should invest more into that because that was incredible.
So it doesn't, okay, you answered my question. I'm just concerned that it's like, is it only my friends who did it's like, it's anyone, and if I just drive the traffic to my Indiegogo campaign, I'll be fine.
Right, and it's like, again, you've created, like, you are launched, this is your invitation to the world to say, come get involved in
The launch of this thing.
the launch of this thing.
So kind of combining John's and Patrick's question. So your platform facilitates commerce, almost like Amazon might do. And you're driving traffic to your campaign within Indiegogo instead of, let's say, putting up an Amazon store.
Right.
So, and the goal, or the reason why Indiegogo or any crowdfunding platform is because it's that sense people want to go there where they're creating passion and excitement around stuff. And you help create some tailwind and that go-go factor.
Right, and because there's amazing customer support, and so, like, because your community is important to you, that you want to make sure that because instead of you like, oh, I had to respond to like 700 inquiries because everybody in the world wants this, that Indiegogo is the one who facilitates that. Also that we have a robust trust and safety team in place, so you're like, oh, man, these fraudy, spammy people are trying to like infiltrate, shut it down. Yeah, and also we've been doing this for a long time, and we have great support on top of all that marketing.
And pretty good community outreach speakers, right?
So.
Do we have any other questions? Well, with that, Kate, thank you very much. You have your email there, right, so people can reach out to you if they have any follow-up questions.
We have one more question.
Oh, I was gonna, can you talk about the analytics? So you said you track the Google ads coming in?
Right, you
And
can
also track like Facebook?
So it will track, you can see where your traffic is coming from. There's a whole blog post about our new campaigner dashboard, so you can check it out. Cool. Yeah.
And is our pitcher here? Because somebody did sign up to pitch. Oh, you are here, great. So we'll take a 10-minute break and come on back for pitching panel. Thank you.